shot in the head is something most people assume is 100% fatal. Like, that's it. Game over. And in a lot of cases, it is. But by some miracle, some people survive it. And not just survive, they walk, talk, even function, almost like nothing happened. How? Why? What makes the difference between someone dying instantly and someone getting up and calling 911 themselves? Let's dive into it. First off, we gotta talk about why getting shot in the head is usually lethal. It all comes down to what's inside that skull of yours, the brain. Your brain is basically the command center for your entire body. It controls breathing, heart rate, movement, memory, language, vision, everything. There's no backup system and there's no spare tire. So if a bullet hits the wrong part, even by a few millimeters, it can shut everything down instantly. There are three main ways a headshot usually causes death. The first is direct brain damage. The bullet hits a vital area like the brainstem or major cortical structures and causes immediate failure of critical systems. The second way is bleeding, otherwise known as a hemorrhage. The brain is full of blood vessels, so if one gets ruptured, the internal bleeding and pressure can destroy nearby tissue extremely quickly. The third way is swelling or edema. Even if the initial damage doesn't kill you, the brain can swell afterward. Problem is, your skull is a fixed space. That pressure has nowhere to go, so it compresses the brain, causing more damage minute by minute. But again, not every shot to the head is the same. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. The brain is not one uniform blob. Different parts control different things. A shot to one region might be fatal, while another might leave you alive, but blind or confused or weirdly fine. For example, the frontal lobe is responsible for things like personality, decision-making, and voluntary movement. It's big and relatively accessible from the front, so someone shot in the forehead might have damage to that area, but if the bullet doesn't go too deep, it might miss the more critical internal structures entirely. There are also cases where the bullet takes a weird path, deflects off the skull, stays within a certain hemisphere, or misses key arteries and brain centers. If it doesn't sever major blood vessels, cause a massive bleed, or hit critical control systems, survival is on the table. One of the most famous examples is Phineas Gage, a railroad worker in the 1800s who had a literal iron rod launched through his cheekbone and out of the top of his head. He survived, walked away from it. The injury drastically changed his personality, sure, but the fact that he lived at all shocked everyone. Then, of course, there are modern day survivors of gunshots to the head. Documented cases where people not only made it through, but made near full recoveries. So what are the key factors that determine if someone can survive a shot to the head? Let's go through them. Number one, bullet caliber and velocity. Not all bullets are created equal. A small caliber, low velocity round, like a 22, might not have the energy to fully penetrate the skull, or it might lodge without exiting. That's still dangerous, but far less destructive than, say, a high velocity rifle round, which can cause massive cavitation. Number two, trajectory. Where the bullet enters and what path it takes matters a lot. A bullet that goes straight through both hemispheres or into the base of the skull is usually fatal, but one that scrapes along the outer edge or follows a shallow arc through less critical regions, survival is way more likely. Three, immediate medical care. Time is everything. If someone is stabilized quickly, given surgery to relieve pressure, control bleeding, and prevent infection, their chances of survival go way up. The brain can actually rewire itself over time with a process called neuroplasticity, which means even if damage is done, other parts of the brain can sometimes take over the lost functions. Number four, luck. Yeah, sometimes it really is just luck. Millimeters make the difference between a graze and a fatal shot. People have survived bullets passing between the two hemispheres of their brain. Others have died from a single fragment lodging in just the wrong spot. It's not just about the brain either, though. The skull itself plays a huge role. Some people have thicker skulls or unique angles of impact that deflect a bullet more than you'd expect. Others get shot at a downward or glancing angle that helps the round exit without fully penetrating the brain cavity. And let's not forget the power of adrenaline. Some people who get shot in the head don't even realize it at first. They feel the impact, see blood, but don't process what happened. Some of them even drive themselves to the hospital with a bullet still lodged in their head. Now, let's be clear, even if you survive something like this, that doesn't mean you're walking away like nothing happened. Most survivors deal with long-term issues, memory loss, vision problems, personality shifts, PTSD, seizures, chronic pain, the list goes on. It's a brutal recovery, both physically and mentally. But the point is, it's possible. Human biology is resilient in ways we don't always appreciate. The brain is delicate, but also capable of adaptation. The skull is vulnerable, but also shockingly tough, and every case is unique. So we've covered how someone can survive a shot to the head, but the real challenge is what comes after. The recovery, the stories, and the insane lengths doctors go to in order to keep someone alive through it. Let's set the scene. Someone survives the shot. Maybe the bullet missed major arteries. Maybe it stopped short of vital structures. Maybe they were just insanely lucky. They're rushed to the hospital. Now what? The first priority? Stabilization. That means keeping them breathing, keeping the heart pumping, and most importantly, controlling the pressure inside the skull. Because even if the bullet didn't kill them instantly, the brain is about to swell up up like a balloon. That swelling, if left unchecked, can push the brain downward and compress the brainstem. And once that happens, you're cooked. So doctors usually perform something called a craniectomy, where they literally remove a piece of the skull to give the brain room to swell without crushing itself. It sounds wild, but it saved tons of lives. That chunk of skull gets stored, sometimes in the patient's abdomen to keep it alive, and is later reattached once the brain calms down. The next step, imaging. CT scans, MRIs, the whole nine. They need to see the bullet path, check for fragments, assess bleeding, and decide if surgery is even possible. Some bullets are left in place if removing them would cause more damage than leaving them. So in that case, doctors just work around it. Then there's the risk of infection. The brain is surrounded by cerebrospinal fluid, and once the skull is breached, bacteria can sneak in fast. So patients are given aggressive antibiotics and sometimes put into medically induced comas to reduce brain activity and give everything a better shot at healing. Now let's talk about what survival actually looks like, because this part is crazy. Some survivors wake up within hours. Others take days, weeks, even months to come out of it. And when they do, things aren't always the same. Some can't speak, some forget their family, some remember everything but suddenly have trouble with balance or vision or emotions. The damage can be anywhere, but the brain, it adapts. That's what makes these stories so incredible. You've got people relearning how to walk, talk, eat, write, all from scratch, through months, sometimes years of physical and cognitive therapy. It's not about getting back to normal. It's about building a new normal. There's a guy named Richard Lee Norris. He accidentally shot himself in the face with a shotgun and survived. His injuries were devastating, but he lived, and later became one of the first people in the world to receive a full face transplant. And now he walks around, talks, lives a life that, while challenging, is his. Another case, a young woman in Florida named Tanya Headley. She was shot in the head at close range and not only survived, but later earned a degree in nursing afterwards. She speaks publicly about resilience and recovery now. But what's actually happening inside the brain during all of this? Well, I mentioned it before, but it's called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. If one part gets damaged, nearby regions can sometimes take over. It's not perfect, but with training and repetition, the brain can build new pathways. Think of it like taking a detour around a collapsed bridge. It's longer and it's slower, but it still gets you where you need to go. Physical therapy works on balance and movement. Occupational therapy helps with daily tasks, eating, getting dressed, coordination. Speech therapy helps rewire language and vocal control. And on top of all of that, there's the emotional side, because surviving a gunshot to the head isn't just physical. It's traumatic, plain and simple. Survivors often deal with anxiety, depression, memory gaps, or personality changes. They've gone through something most people don't come back from, and the mental weight from that is real. But again, many of them do come back. Not always quickly, but they rebuild. And that's what makes this topic so heavy, but also so powerful. We assume that shots to the head mean instant death. Movies treat it like a light switch. One moment alive, the next one gone. But biology isn't binary. It's messy. And that messiness sometimes gives people a shot at survival, even when everything says they shouldn't be here. In reality though, I'm just a dude who likes science. I make videos on stuff I think is cool. So if you like cool stuff, then subscribe.